This is the reflection instructional video. At this point, you should have completed watching the translation instructional video and copied all of those notes into your transformation book. You should have also completed the 4 translation problems in the transformation packet on your desk. I want you to go ahead and turn the page in your transformation book. So you're now on page 2, and then we will begin taking our notes. Make sure that on your transformation book, the graph for the reflections page matches the graph on the screen, and you can go ahead and title the book Reflections. Reflections means to flip, so we're going to take the shape and we're going to flip it over. So either flip it side to side or flip it upside down. When you are given a reflection instruction, it's going to say to flip it over the X or Y axis. It could also say to flip it over a specified line. That would look like X equals or Y equals. Here in a minute, I'm going to do all 4 types of examples. Just like with translations, reflections are always congruent, meaning the shape is going to stay the same size and the same shape even after we flip it over. Our first step is always the same. It's to write down the original points. So we're going to start with the triangle in the middle, ABC. Point A is located at 2, 4. Point B is located at 4, 10. And point C is at 7, 5. For this problem, we are going to reflect it across the x-axis. Now remember, the x-axis is this line running side to side here. So we want to cross that line. To do that, we put our pencil on A, because we're starting with the first point, and I'm going to count to the line. So I count 1, 2, 3, 4. It takes me 4 units to get to the x-axis, which is what we're going to cross. So to flip it, I go 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to label that point A prime. I'm going to do the same thing with point B. I put my pencil on B and I count to my line, the x-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It took me 10 units to get to the line, so to flip it, to reflect it, I go over 10 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we're going to label that point B prime. All we're doing is counting, and we continue counting in a straight line towards the x-axis. For my final point, I put the pencil on C, and I'm going to count to my x-axis line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm then going to go 5 more to cross the line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to label it C prime. I can go ahead and connect my dots, and there is my reflected triangle. The last step is to go ahead and copy down the new prime points. A prime is at 2, negative 4. B prime is at 4, negative 10. And C prime is at 7, negative 5. Number 2. We're looking at the shape in the bottom right-hand corner labeled DEFG. For this problem, we need to copy down the original points. Point D is at 14, negative 8. E is at 14, negative 14. F is at 9, and that should be a negative 18, so go ahead and make sure that that's negative. And G is at 9, negative 12. For this problem, we are going to reflect across the y-axis. The y-axis is the vertical line that runs straight up and down. So, just like we did with number 1, we're going to count to that line. So, I'm going to start with D because that's the first shape. And so I'm going to count over to the y-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Now I'm at the y-axis. To reflect, we go across the y-axis, so I'm going to count 14 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And we can label that point D prime. We're going to do the same thing with letter E. I put my pencil on E and I count towards the y-axis. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Once you make it to the line that you are reflecting across, in this case, the y-axis, we continue going the same amount across it. So I'm going to go 14 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. From there, we can go ahead and make our point, and I'm going to label it E prime. For letter F, we're going to put our pencil on F and count to the y-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then I'm going to go 9 more across the line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we can go ahead and make that point, and we're going to label it F prime. The last point, point G, put your pencil on G. We count to the y-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Once we get to the y-axis, we can go ahead and count 9 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I'm going to label that point G prime. I can go ahead and connect my dots, and I have my new reflected shape. The last step is to write down the new points. D prime is at -14, -8. E prime is at -14, -14. F prime is at -9, -18. And G prime is at -9, -12. Number 3, we're looking at the shape in the middle that has points H, I, J, and K. The first step is to write down the original points. H is at -11, -1. I is at -3, -1. J is at -5, -4. And K is at -9, -4. For this problem, we are going to reflect across the line y equals 2. This is different from the first two problems because the x and y axis that we've already done, they are already drawn on the graph for you. The line y equals 2 is not drawn, so we have to do that first. It tells me that we're on the y, which is my y axis. That's the line that runs straight up and down through the middle. And then it has a +2. So I'm going to put a point at the +2 mark on the y-axis. And I'm going to go ahead and draw that line. That is what I'm going to count to when I look at my points. So let's start with point H. Put your pencil on point H and count to the line that we just drew. 1, 2, 3. It should have taken you 3 units to get to the new line. Just like before, we have to cross the line, so we're going to go 3 more. 1, 2, 3. I put my point, and I'm going to label it H prime. Put your pencil on letter I and count to the line. 1, 2, 3. Because we are reflecting, we have to go 3 more. 1, 2, 3. I put my point and I label it I prime. Then we're going to move on to letter J. Put your pencil on point J and count to the line that we drew. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It took us 6 units to get to the line, so we're going to go 6 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I would draw my point and label it J prime. And the last point, point K, again, put your pencil on K and count up to the line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we're going to go 6 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that is my new K prime. I can connect the dots. And then our next step is to write down the new points. My new points, H prime is at negative 11, 5. I prime is at negative 3, 5. J prime is at negative 5, 8. And K prime is at negative 9, 8. In our last example, you can continue these notes down at the bottom of your page. I ran out of room, so I'm going off to the side. Our last shape is the triangle at the top of the page labeled LMN. Point L is at negative 2, 20. Point M is at negative 5, 16. And point N is at negative 2, 14. We are going to reflect this across the line x equals 3. Just like with the last problem, this one is different because the line is not drawn for us. We have to draw the line x equals 3. So because it's x, I know that I'm going to start on my x-axis, which is the line that runs across through the middle. And then I'm going to go ahead and go to positive 3. And I put my point on the x-axis at 3. To draw the line, I'm going to go straight up and down. Notice I go all the way to the edges. That is the line that I'm going to be counting to. So we're going to start with point L. Put your pencil on point L and count to the line that we just drew. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It should have taken us 5 units to get to that line. And then we count 5 more as we are reflecting across it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can go ahead and make my point, and I'm going to label it L prime. For point M, put your pencil on M and count to the line that we drew x equals 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I'm going to go 8 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm going to label that point M prime. The last point, letter N, I count to the line x equals 3 that we drew earlier. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I go 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to label that point N prime. And then I can connect my dots. The last step is to write down the new prime coordinates. L prime is at 8, 20. M prime is at 11, 16. And N prime is at 8, 14. Now, we have finished copying the notes for the reflections page in our transformation book. What I want you to do now is to answer the 4 reflection problems in the transformation packet. This will be a classwork grade. Once you have finished the 4 reflection problems in the transformation packet, you're going to turn the page in your transformation book and find the dilation instructional video on my YouTube channel.